Hello, fellow dog lovers. If you're here because your dog is having seizures, first let me say this. I see you, I know how scary this is, and you're not alone. And there is so much to learn. I've been doing dog rescue for 27 years now, mostly Rhodesian Ridgebacks. I say like 80%, and then 20% all other types of dogs. Right now I have 14 rescue dogs on 17 acres. I've cared for many beautiful dogs with seizures. And from these dogs, I've learned so much about toxins and chemicals that are hidden in everyday household products. I have learned a lot through research, through trial and error, through observation, and a lot of it has been the hard way. But today I'm here sharing this with you to help you along your path and to learn the things that took me many years to learn, hopefully a lot quicker than that. This is everything I wish someone had told me when I first started on this journey with seizures. So let me just start with something that a lot of people don't know, but many seizures are caused by toxic overload. What this means is the flea pills that your vet tells you are safe, they are not. There is an FDA warning about them causing seizures, and there are thousands and thousands and thousands of accounts of sad, beautiful pet owners who have learned the hard way. This includes not only flea pills, but flea drops and conventional flea collars. The other reason can be vaccination or over-vaccination. Many of your rescue animals have been given way too much vaccination because their records didn't transfer with them, and they weren't given what's called a titer test to test the different levels of immunity before they were given additional vaccination. This is how my poor dog Sparky ended up with epilepsy. Along with poor quality food, just a unhealthy upbringing, or start with the parents on poor quality food, and then of course toxins on your grass, things that you spray on your grass that our dog absorbs through the paws. Also Febreze, Glade plugins, scented candles, Lysol, your laundry detergent, your laundry softener. All of these things are filled with hormone disrupting chemicals that can definitely spark seizures. Same with your conventional fragrance, your perfume, your cologne. All of those things can actually start a seizure in a dog, as well as paint, sometimes when you're painting in the house. I've had all of these things firsthand experience. So sometimes it's important to remember if your dog is having cluster seizures that you give it a bath right away. You wash it off because sometimes it's just the fact that it laid on a fire retardant surface, maybe a new rug that you got, or a couch, or a blanket that was washed in regular detergent instead of free and clear. So giving your dog a bath can sometimes stop the cluster grand mal seizures. So what do you do to help your dog now that it has seizures? Well, the first thing you want to do is get milk thistle. You can get this on Amazon in the whole form that you grind yourself, organic. You can get it on pipingrock.com, the human capsules that you open up and pour on the food. You can get a combination. You can get liquid. There's all kinds of options for milk thistle. You can combine it with dandelion root or some sort of liver detox support, which will be helpful. Because these herbs are natural, they are gentle, which means a longer period of time, I believe, that they need to be on, depending on how old your dog is, how many chemicals and exposures it's had. It's not unusual to give your dog milk thistle for a couple months even. So that's one of the first things I like to start detoxing the liver. This will help clean out the liver, which is crucial for reducing seizure activity. But at the same time, remember, you must eliminate all of those toxins from your environment, your household, and around your dog. Whew. You got to switch to free and clear laundry detergent. You've got to switch to free and clear fabric softener. This is super important. My dog would have seizures if it laid on a blanket that was washed in regular detergent. They wouldn't stop until I'd give him a bath and get it off of his coat. Super, super dangerous these chemicals that are hiding in our household are for your dog, but this is also a big warning for you. They are just as harmful for you. You may not be having seizures because you haven't reached that point of no return, but it's definitely a possibility that you can. And this is when people can develop cancers and all of that kind of stuff. Another one of my favorite things to detox with is called Essiac tea. I will post a link. This is a tea that I have shrunk humongous tumors off of a cat's neck. I have helped people with Bell's palsy, different skin conditions. What else has it done? A lot of my dogs, I've extended the life with cancer or gotten rid of the cancer. Most currently, my cousin's using it on her cat, which is now tumor-free because of this. And the vets at the specialty hospital college that she takes it to are very surprised and astounded by the results. So Essiac tea is something that you just boil and make. You can take it yourself as well. You're going to pour that on top of their dog or cat food. And you want to do that twice a day. And for that, you want to do it 3 to 6 months, depending on what your dog has. If your dog has cancer, then it may be on it for a year. But it's very cheap, cost effective. It's all organic. And I highly recommend the Essiac tea. Let's see. So, vitamin E. I didn't find out about this until probably 15 years into my journey when I took my dog to a vet that I go to. Who's been a vet 40 or 50 years. He's a older gentleman, and he also has been a vet in other countries, like China, and he's worked all over with research. And I just happened to ask him, because he was giving me these great tips on other things. He's the one that taught me about coconut oil for their ears, how you just squirt a little bit of that once a week and massage that in. It takes away all those ear allergies and all that itching and infections. And he told me about vitamin E. He said, I don't know why we don't use it in America. It's used in other countries. But he basically explained it for a simple version that I could understand, is that there's little pathways or fibers in the brain, and the vitamin E coats those and makes it so they can't get into a little traffic jam. And when they get into a traffic jam is when you have seizures. Along with the vitamin E, he told me to add CBD and D3. So I was adding all of those. And I'm going to tell you how much I used for my dog, Sparky. He was a Rhodesian Ridgeback. He was probably between 80 and 85 pounds. The vet told me I could use 3,000 IUs to 4,000 IUs of vitamin E twice a day. So, I just kind of decided what I was going to do. So that's for that weight. So you might want to divide 3,000 IUs divided by 80 pounds, find out what that is, and then times it by however much your dog weighs, and you'll have a good example of the low end of how much to give your dog. My dog was having seizures. At that point, he was 9 years old. He was having them once a month. They were getting worse. He had been he was on Potassium Bromide and Keppra. And I was able to carefully wean him completely off of Potassium Bromide. And I got down to the tiniest little bit of Keppra. Now, mind you, I was going extremely slow and extremely careful. But in the 9 months, he'd never had one seizure. That was the longest we had ever gone. And he was doing the natural vitamin E. It's very important that it's natural and that you're getting the mix of them. Again, I get mine on pipingrock.com. They are pills. I would have to just push them down his throat. Sometimes he'd eat them in his food. Or they do, for smaller dogs, they have drops. But I think drops would be a lot. You'd have to buy a lot of that if you were doing a large dog. So that's what I did, along with adding a CBD pill that at the time Piping Rock was selling. I had one in the morning and one in the evening. They no longer carry them for whatever reason. So I know you can get CBD high quality elsewhere. I know it can be kind of expensive. Piping Rock had it for such a great deal. It was such a blessing. And then also I was doing 5,000 IUs of D3. And it's really good if you add it with K2, but D3 will be helping as well. So, what else can I tell you? So do not stop your seizure meds. I mean, I would give it a full month on the vitamin E, or at least 2 weeks or a month before even starting to gradually wean down. And then you're taking it down probably, 2 weeks at a time on each one as you're slowly going down. Use common sense. Use muscle testing, emotion code, if you've never heard of that. That's a great place that teaches muscle testing that can really help you understand how much to give. So you're always going to start with those supplements first for probably, 2 weeks to a month before you even start to wean down. And then you go very slowly. I hope that this information helps you. I will try to post some links. This is my first video I've ever made in my life. I didn't mean for it to be quite this long. And yeah, basically I just find that so many people need help with seizures and I don't have time to answer them all individually. So I thought I would make this video and try to give some of the information about these things. The other thing that's so important that I'm going to mention is really do your research into vaccinations. Get into some Facebook groups that are no vaccinations, natural. Find out some real research and some real stuff on the vaccinations. When you have a seizure dog, you cannot get another vaccination. Don't worry, your dog will be fine. It will not die from not getting the vaccination. It will not get sick. But the chances of it dying if you give the vaccination when it has the seizure, now that's a lot higher. Unfortunately, I know some of this from personal experience. I gave my German Shepherd Guardian a flea pill, and he ended up dying from the complications of it. I also gave my other German Shepherd Dharma a flea pill, and he ended up getting lupus, which is collie nose, and IBS, and a host of skin problems and everything else. So I learned the hard way on this. I also learned the hard way on vaccinations. When I stopped over vaccinating, all of my large dogs went from dying between 8 to 12 years old to dying at like 15-year mark, 14, 15 year, depending on what their, how much toxins they'd been exposed to in the earlier part of their life. This was huge for me as I love dogs. That's how I ended up with so many dogs, because I have so many old dogs that I never expected to be living to be 15 with way, way less vet bills, not the cancers and all the surgeries and all the problems I used to have. It's been a miracle. And so with a dog that has seizures, you can't put, when they get those ear mites, you can't put regular ear mite medicine down their ears. That will cause them to have seizures. Heart Guard or ivermectin can cause them to have seizures. So you kind of want to use that sparingly. So just be careful. And then of course, food. If my dog was on a different food, that could cause him to have seizures. So I had to keep him on Taste of the Wild or Diamond Naturals grain-free whitefish or salmon is what he personally did best on. The other thing to take note of is water quality. With Sparky, at one point, our water changed. They were doing some sort of flush at the city or adding some other chemical or something. And he started having seizures all the time, every day for a week. Of course, I brought him to the vet. He was in the vet for a week. Nothing improved. He was still having those seizures. The vet basically gave him back after a week saying, nothing's worked, we can't really do anything. You can put him down or you can see if something changes when you bring him home. Well, I brought him home, said a prayer as he went into his first seizure. And, God spoke to me and said, it's the water. And immediately I switched him to distilled water that wasn't from, what my city was doing. And all of his seizures stopped that easily. He had been on the same water at the vet. He was on this water. So it can definitely be the water. I highly recommend distilled water for your seizure dogs and add pink Himalayan sea salt. Okay. Very important. Pink Himalayan has 77 plus minerals. It also allows them to absorb the hydration from the water. This goes for humans as well. I'm a colon hydrotherapist, so I talk to people about this every day. It's 1/4 of a teaspoon per liter. A liter is 4 cups or 32 ounces. And that's of pink Himalayan sea salt to get those minerals in. So super healthy, super important. One thing I'll add is if you have a dog with arthritis, you add 1/8 of a teaspoon of borax a day to their water or their food. And this greatly helps humans and dogs with arthritis. And I've seen a lot of my clients that have used it with great success. So that's 1/8 of a teaspoon max a day for a dog that's say 80 pounds. You would adjust if your dog was smaller, of course, because you don't want too much borax. So that's for like an 80 to 100 pound dog, 1/8 of a teaspoon. You could even go less than that, honestly. 1/16 would be fine. And that's just your plain borax that you get from 3 mules that you put on your laundry. And I have actual literature and research on borax. If you want it, contact me personally and I will try to send that to you. Give me your email address. All right, I hope these things help and have a wonderful day. Thank you.